Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather, and today we're going to be starting a video and a series where I read books that include mythological creatures. And we're going to be starting with vampires first. It is October, it's almost Halloween, and we are going to be reading some vampy books. I'm also really excited because I want to throw in some educational points in here too about different types of vampires, different types. Throughout this series you'll see like different types of mythological creatures, and based on the books that I read, where the characters and these books fit into specific folklore and also like the history of these mythological creatures. So we are going to be talking about the different types of vampires in this video, and I'm going to go ahead and, dive into it. So I have 5 books for this particular video. I'm going to go through them and then we're going to talk about them and all the good things. So the first book that I have is Fangs Divide Us by Catherine Crowe. This is a cozy romantasy and I have the art for it. It also comes out on Halloween. So I don't know when this video will be going up, but get your hands on it. It's on Kindle Unlimited, or it's going to be on Kindle Unlimited. The next one I have is a horror book. This is a book that I've had on my bookshelf for a really long time. It's called Fledgling by Octavia Butler, and yeah, I've had it on my shelf for a while, and I've been needing to fit it in somewhere, so we're gonna fit it into this particular video. I have House of Hunger, which is also a horror, and this is by Alexis Henderson. I read An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson earlier this year, and I really liked that book, so I'm very, very excited about this. And this is about a blood maiden, I believe. Then I have On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin, and I've heard really, really good things about this. This is a dark romantasy, and I think it has dragons and vampires, and it sounds like a really good time. It's supposed to be super steamy, and I'm in the mood for a super steamy romantasy. And yeah, so if you've seen all of the hype about this book, we're going to be reading it in here. And then the last one is Blood on Her Tongue by Joanna Von Veen. And I've heard really, really good things about this one too. This was also in the Goodreads Choice Awards for last year too. So that's how it came on my radar. But I think it was it. Was it the book by? I don't remember. I just remember this author being in the Goodreads Choice Awards, so I think it was her other book that was it. You know what? I don't know what I'm talking about, so per usual. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what mythical creature you want me to do next, and we're gonna hop right into it. I guess I could have told you which book we're gonna start with this video first. By the way, I forgot to film an intro to this video, so you're gonna see different nails and different hair at the very start of this video, so ignore that. But we're going to be reading Fangs Divide Us first. Hello, here to fill you in and let you know that I ended up finishing Fangs Divide Us by Catherine Crowe, and I'm going to give this a 4. I was going to give it a 3.75 star, but then the ending happened and it was just really freaking cute, and I was like, okay, it's a 4 star. So we have Millie and we have Ellis, and Millie is a vampire. Ellis doesn't know it, but they end up meeting because Millie gets hurt and Ellis takes care of her. And then they go on an adventure together to try to find out more information about Millie's people, because vampires, if you're a vampire, it's illegal. And people are very prejudiced against vampires because they are horrible, blood-sucking creatures that can control your mind. But they are not that. And there's a lot of religious talk in this book too, about how people believe everything that religious figures say, and there's a lot of discussion about that in here, and how the church has created and written this narrative about vampires being horrible, and then finding out what actually has happened to Millie's people was really, really sad, and it's very prevalent to what's going on in the world today. And I thought that it was done in a way that was very respectful and just extremely well crafted, so it's going to get the message across to people but it's also showing like the overall emotional torment and turmoil that people go through when they are being treated the way that the vampires in this book were treated. They were ostracized, they were taken to, like, they were just like thrown out like garbage, and they were taken away from their homes. And it's very, like, the topic today is very important of what's going on with like immigration and people being taken away from their homes and children being taken away from their parents and all that kind of stuff. And it was just very relevant to what's going on in today's world. So I thought that that was very well done in this book. But it is also a very sweet and cozy romance between Millie and Ellis. I will say that they fell in love very quickly, but there is a reason behind that. And there's a one bed trope in here, which I thought was done really cool, really cute. This is one of those medium steam books. Like, you get a little bit of the steam, but you don't get the whole full steamy steam, right? You don't get all those descriptions. You know what they're doing, but it just doesn't go into that detail. And me loving romance and the steam behind it and just seeing the passion, I thought that the author did a really good job with conveying that they had compassion and that they had that connection with each other without having to go into like all of the full-blown descriptions of what's happening. Okay, and I think that that was a good choice for this book, because if there were super detailed steamy scenes in this book, I don't think that it would have connected well at all with the tone of this book. So there are medium steamy scenes. It's just like, it's like a one chili pepper, if even that. Maybe it's like a half of a chili pepper, but you know what they're doing. It's very obvious that what they're doing. And also Millie and Ellis, they're in their 20s, but they read a little bit younger to me than the 20, like maybe 19, maybe 21, but Ellis, I believe, was 25. But there was just some things in here I was like, that's a little bit younger than they're supposed to be. But it was okay. I really liked all the mythical creatures in here too. Hesper, perfect. I loved Hesper's character. Hesper is so freaking cute, and I was just glad that they had like a sidekick like that. That's one thing that I really do like about fantasy books when there are sidekicks. They just have so much personality, and the authors really take time to give the sidekick, like an animal sidekick like that, a personality, even though you don't understand them. It's just, I really like that aspect of it. And yeah, it was just one of those warm, cozy, sweet romances that had a lot of stuff packed into it. Maybe a little bit over ambitious at times, but it was, I thought that it was really sweet and it was really well done. So yes, I'm going to continue on with that series. I'm really excited about the next book in that series, because it's supposed to be about one character that we did not meet, we heard about, and then another character that we did meet. And I'm just, it's supposed to be enemies to lovers, and there was a little excerpt at the end of the book for the first book, and it's gonna be my thing. That, like, enemies to lovers is, it's just perfect, you know. I love enemies to lovers. But we're gonna switch gears, and I'm gonna read Fledgling by Octavia Butler. I have the audiobook for this, and I've had this book on my shelf for a really long time. I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time. I just haven't had like a video or a chance to end up reading it, and yeah, we'll see. I think this is more of sci-fi horror, and it's about a young girl who is a vampire and trying to navigate the world. But we shall see. She's genetically modified to be able to walk in daylight, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, we're gonna read this. Alright, I wanted to let you know that I ended up finishing Fledgling by Octavia Butler. And I personally, this was not my thing. It was, the way that it was written was not my favorite, but I did like the overall world building and storytelling of the story. I could not get on par with our main character, what was her name? Shori. I could not get on par with our main character, Shori, looking like a 10-year-old, but being a 53-year-old vampire, and someone like Wright, who is 23, being sexually attracted to her. It was very hard for me to overlook that. And I understand that she's 53 years old in vampire years, but that part just really creeped me out. And the entire time when they were being sexually active with each other, my brain could not separate the two. And I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't really enjoy this all the way, because it was very sexual when it came to Shori's relationships with other people. And they were all adults, like human adults, and even vampire adults. This story also has like a road trip aspect to it, which I personally enjoyed. I like the whole travel and Shori trying to basically find people that can help her, because she is in a predicament right now where all of her people and all of her family is gone. And I'm just going to leave it there because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But she is trying to find people to help her, and she finds humans that are willing to help her find, you know, other vampires. So there is a found family aspect in this, and I did enjoy that aspect of how close these like vampires and humans were. I did enjoy that aspect, especially the family aspect and how they took care of each other, and how it was important to them to make sure that Shori did find another family of vampires. But yeah, it wasn't my absolute favorite. I did give it a 3.25, but there were just some things about this book that I could not look past, just personally. I don't think that this is objectively a bad book at all. I think that it was written very well, especially with the storytelling and the world building, but there were some aspects of this book, like I said, that weren't my favorite. So yep, I do still have Kindred on my bookshelf, and I hear that one people really love that one because it's time travel and stuff. But I did see a lot of reviews, because I didn't look at the reviews of this before, you know, I read it or bought it, and it's some people's absolute favorites, but it's also other people's not so favorites, and I'm in the middle. So the next book that we're going to read for this video is House of Hunger. Speak Heather. House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson, and I ended up reading Academy for Liars this year for a Literary Dead Book Club pick, and I absolutely loved it. So hopefully I will enjoy this too, because this is one of people's like favorites by this author, and this is about a blood maid. So, and also like about high society. So I don't know, I know that there are vampires in here, but I think the high society takes over more of the vampiric elements to this story. So we will see how I feel about it. The tagline of this book says, "Wanted blood maid of exceptional taste, must have a keen want for life's finer pleasures. Girls of weak will not need to apply." So evidently this family is something else. So we will see how I feel about this book, and I will let you know when I am halfway through, or if I just need to fill you in. Halfway is about chapter 16. That's just like eyeballing it, but we will see. Let's talk some vampire lore. Okay, well, not really lore, but the different types of vampires. So I found this website, and it like lists 11 different types of vampires. Obviously, with everyone's interpretation of what a vampire is, they can, like, it's fantasy and you can make up pretty much whatever you want, you know. So we're gonna talk about Fangs Divide Us first. In this particular book, the vampire is our female main character. She's half human, half vampire. She's also extremely sweet. She's loyal, and she has a lot of love to give. but she's just scared to because being a vampire is considered illegal, and they want to kill all the vampires. They want to rid the world of all the vampires. So she has to hide that side of her. But our male main character doesn't care that she is, but it takes her a while to open up to him and like really get to know him and really trust him. So I think that she is not only gentle and protective, she's obviously half human, half vampire, and she fits those molds perfectly. I think, yeah, she's extremely sweet. She'll do anything for the people that she loves. She'll protect them, and she's just trying to survive out there in the world, you know? Surviving. And then we have Fledgling. She's half human, half vampire as well. But she, even though she is gentle and protective, she is also an alpha. Like, her presence to everyone around her, she just like, her aura is just demanding, and her aura is just like, she's a queen, right? She is, everybody gravitates towards her, and she protects those that she calls hers. And if you are hers and somebody tries to mess with you, she's just like, you know, she's gonna do whatever she can to protect you. And like, she is one of those characters that you do not want to mess with at all. So she fits those molds really well too. And then we have House of Hunger. This one is a different take on vampires as well. Obviously, everybody's take on vampires is going to be different. But this one is Marion, our main character. She is a blood maid, so she's not actually a vampire. And the vampires in this story are more human than the other two books that I read. They're very old, they're aristocratic, they don't, like, they have vampire teeth, but they like have gold cap them and stuff like that. So they use needles to draw blood, or to like make the blood start flowing. I don't know, and it's more seductive, and like, they're all bloodthirsty. The rich people in this book are extremely bloodthirsty, and they just like take and take and take. So being a blood maid is what it basically means. Marion takes this position, and she decides that she's gonna bleed and feed this chick, or this aristocratic person called Elizabeth. And in the House of Hunger, where Elizabeth lives, there are darker secrets than Marion signed up for. I don't know what those darker secrets are just of yet, but I'm kind of getting the gist of it. And in my opinion, this book is a lot about sex work. The way that the blood maids are treated is they're treated like pieces of meat. They're not treated like people. They're used for one thing and one thing only, and they are paid for that service. And Marion finally realizes that the life of being a blood maid is not all glamorous, like people says that it is. And these rich people get what they want from them, and then once they're done, they just throw them away. And these blood maids form bonds with these people, but it really is just, they're getting what they want, and then that's it. They don't care about anybody else. They don't care about the outcome of what happens to these blood maids. If they die, they can just bring in another one, and you know. So it's talking a lot about the divide between the rich and the poor, and like I said, sex work, and just how, depending on what class you're in, the way that you're treated. So it's diving really, really deep into that. I am enjoying this a lot. It is very well written. The storytelling in here is exceptional. I really like how Alexis Henderson writes, and I'm excited to see where this book goes. I'm a little over, no, I'm right at halfway. And this book reads very quickly. I like Marion, and I like her willingness to like survive. And I like how she goes about talking to people and just how she's navigating this new world. She's not letting, like, she's trying to investigate what's going on. She's trying to figure out how to survive in this world, but she's also standing up for herself a lot. And she's not a rule follower, which I enjoy. I enjoy when main characters do not follow the rules like they're supposed to, and they just kind of go off on their own merry way. And that's what she's doing here. But she is very smart. She's very street smart. And she has realized that this place is not a good place. And she's just going to have to figure it out, you know? So we'll see how it goes. But the vampires in here, different take on them. But I like it. Y'all, this was so good. And then it just ended abruptly. And I'm like, I was very jarred by the ending. I was expecting it to go a little bit farther. So I'm going to give it a 4.25 just because I wanted a little bit more from the ending. And I'm not a big lover of open, ambiguous endings like this. And I really just wanted to see where they would end up and what would happen and all that kind of stuff, you know? So 4.25. It's a really, really good book. It has a lot of good discussions in here, like I said previously, about sex work, about how there is such a great divide between poor people and rich people, and how a lot of people will not stop until they get what they want, and how there are people out there who will step on anybody to get what they want. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here, lots of stuff. So we already talked about there's aristocratic vampires in here. There's also blood hungry, bloodthirsty vampires in here. And I don't know if I mentioned if like the dangerous / seductive vampire, but yeah, there was definitely a lot of that in here. Very seductive, very sexual, but also extremely dangerous. And I like this take on vampires, and I can't wait to continue to read more from this author. I'm just really happy that I ended up getting to read it. So I'm gonna read this one next, Blood on Her Tongue by Joanna von Veen. And I know that this author is from the Netherlands. I know that this is about sisters, and one of the sisters ends up with a mysterious disease, and it is a historical horror, like historical gothic horror. That's really all I know about it, and that's really all I want to know about it going into this. I do have the audiobook for it, and yeah, I'm gonna read this, and I'll fill you in on how I feel moving forward. Yeah. It is the week of Halloween, and it's Monday. And I am way over halfway. I got my nails done yesterday. Oh no, I did that. Brown tips, you know, some fall. But anyways, I got my nails done yesterday, and at the nail appointment, I read over 100 pages. Like read/listened to over 100 pages of this, and y'all, I am in it. This is disgusting. It's a gross book. It's got body horror. It has very gory scenes. I wasn't expecting that. It's very sexual, and I am enjoying it. I didn't, when the twist came of what was going on, I didn't know if I was going to like it or not, and I didn't like if I was going to, you know, the way that it was going. Didn't know if it was going to be my absolute favorite, but this author is doing a fantastic job of just storytelling in general. And even though this is a historical book, it doesn't feel overly historical in language and setting and everything like that. It doesn't feel modern, but it's not hard to understand, if that makes sense. So we have two sisters. We have Sarah and we have Lucy. And Lucy starts to get these really weird letters from her sister Sarah. Her sister Sarah has always really been into science and into the environment and learning about the human body, learning about different plants and healing and all of those things. And she comes across a bog body. I didn't know what a bog body was, but evidently a bog body is like a mummified body in some kind of field, a peat field, something like that. Anyways, she found a dead body. It was a mummified body. Or during the investigation of this body being found, they don't know if this body is a male or a female because it is so, you know, decomposed, mummified, that kind of thing. And when they start to investigate, they realize that this body was probably sacrificed because of the way that the person was killed. So after Sarah and her little team of people start to do the autopsy and everything like that, Sarah starts to change. And Lucy can tell and see the deterioration of her sister in the letters. And they go from very normal, even keel, you know, sounded mind to insanity. And she gets there, she sees her sister. Her sister is very thin and she just looks like she's dying. And she doesn't know what to do because Lucy and Sarah are twins. They are bonded and Lucy doesn't want to lose her sister. But the twist that came, I was like, oh, that's disgusting, but it's also fascinating in a way. And the author, like I said, is doing a fantastic job of feeding us this information in a very easy way to digest everything, because sometimes these type of stories can be way over my head, but I am in it. And when I say it's very sexual too, there's nothing going on between the sisters, okay? They're just very bonded, but other sexual things are happening, if that makes sense. And I am in it. I am all for this book. I am loving it, and it's very easy to read. It's very easy to understand what's going on, and yeah, I like it a lot. And it's also not your traditional vampire-y story, which I like too. So, yep. My camera died and I was rudely interrupted while I was speaking to you about this fabulous book. I think if you're looking for a different twist on vampire books and you're looking for a good gothic story, I think you would really like this. The type of vampire or bloodsucker, whatever you want to call them, that we have in here is very just like bloodthirsty. Like all she wants to do is eat, and she wants meat, she wants blood, she just, that's all she wants, okay? And Lucy, I was kind of hesitant about liking Lucy at first because she's a little odd, which they both are. They're both very weird. Sarah and Lucy are both very weird, but just because of what she was doing in this book, I was kind of reluctant to like her a little bit. But the ending, she redeemed herself and she came through, and it was just like, I loved it. I loved the sisterly bond. I loved the sapphicness in here. Like I said before, I love the female rage because that was a major theme of this, and just how powerful women can be. And I just freaking loved it. I ate it up. There's a lot of good historical aspects of this too. I learned a lot about what bog people actually were. I've heard the term before, but I didn't know how people that are in these fields are basically mummified. I didn't realize that, but loved it. You need to read it. You need to read it. So next I am reading On Wings of Blood. There we go. And it's okay. It's reading to me more like a new adult book than an adult book. It's listed as a dark academia, like sort of like a college. So these people are still pretty young, but I don't know, like the dialogue in here doesn't match the thoughts of the people, and then there's some like sexual tension that I'm not really on board with because of the way that the characters are written, because they're written very young to me, and that's just not my thing anymore, you know? It's not my thing. I don't like to read about young people and them getting intimate and having sex and thinking all these sexual things about other young people. It makes me feel very weird. But I am liking the whole, which is weird for me to say, I am liking the whole political aspect of this, because usually I can't stand anything political in books. But the way that the houses are sanctioned off, and the way that they have to collaborate and come together, and all of this, and how Medra, she is not of nobility whatsoever. Medra is not of the world that we're in. She is from a different world. And we slowly are finding out what world she was from, also what she did in that world. And the more I get to know about her, the more I like her. And we also have the love interest Blake, which he is a vampire, and he is of like the higher blood. His family is very well known. His family runs a lot of the school, also has a lot of influential power in this world. And something happens to where Blake and Medra have to, like, they are consorts now. So Medra's just trying to survive and learn the way of this world, and Blake is really trying not to be interested in Medra, but there's just something about her that sets him off, and like he just wants her. So it's one of those books, but it's very interesting because Medra is a dragon rider, but there are no dragons left in the world. So I'm very, like, I want to know how the dragons come back, because I like dragons. I do. I would rather read about dragon riders than vampires, to be completely honest. Though the vampires in this story are interesting. I would say right now the vibes that I'm getting from them, there are some bloodthirsty ones. Blake is very brooding, and he's very protective of the people that he loves. And I could probably throw in some aristocratic stuff in there too, because of like the political aspect of it. But this school that they're in, sorry, I'm petting my dog while I'm talking to you, but the school that they're in, or the academy that they're in, they are there to see if they're going to be able to be in like the higher political people when they reach a specific age. I don't know what that age is because they haven't really said anything about it, but again, going back to the romance of this, I don't really know if I am shipping Medra and Blake. I think there's just something, I don't know, I'm just not feeling the emotions that they supposedly have for each other. I'm not feeling the yearning that I want in my romance, and I don't know, there's just something about it. Maybe I'll change, but I'm just liking them better apart than together at the moment, and that's kind of what I have with a lot of books like this one, that's kind of my issue, is the yearning is just not there, and I'm more interested in the world itself than the actual romance as of right now. So we'll see how I feel as I continue reading. I was intrigued enough to get to 65% of this book in a day and a half, so there's that. But yeah, I'm liking the combat scenes. I'm liking all the the fight scenes that we have. I'm liking getting to learn about all the vampires and also all the dragons, and then everything else that Medra is having to learn about at this school. So yeah, I'm enjoying all that, but just not the romance, and that's what I'm here for, you know. But I'll let you know how I feel. While editing this, I realized that I never closed this video out, so let's close it out right quick. I gave On Wings of Blood 3.75. This was obviously the first book in a series. I immediately downloaded the second one because I really did enjoy this story. It took me a little bit to ship the couple. What are their names? It's been a while since I Medra and Blake. So I liked learning about Medra's powers. I liked Blake in a sense, but I didn't really ship them at the very beginning of the book. I didn't really like the triangle, like the love triangle trope in this book either. But to be honest, I really liked the political aspect of this book, which is something, like I said previously, is something that I usually do not like whatsoever in books. I would rather just like right over those. But honestly, I liked it in this book. I thought the author did a really, really good job with that. And I really liked all the friendships, the found family in here, and all of that. So let's talk about the type of vampires, because out of all of the books that I read, this one had the most types, because it was a lot. So we have aristocratic, which is Blake and his family. We have rebellion, rule breaking. I wouldn't say, there was a lot of rule breaking in here. Sorry, I have a pet. There's a lot of rule breaking in here. Medra didn't really break the rules. It was more of like everybody else that broke the rules that was of higher status than her. So I did put that in there. Alpha / possessive. Blake is definitely an alpha, and he is extremely possessive. Dangerous and seductive. All the vampires in here are dangerous, and they are all seductive. That's what they want. And then brooding and tortured. Blake is definitely brooding. He's definitely tortured, and there's a lot of things that he's gonna have to work through, and I am excited to see his character progression in the next books. Again, I didn't really like Medra and Blake together at the very beginning. Thought that it was a little forced on the author's part, but by the end, Blake did redeem himself a little bit, and I did see them coming together more. But I really did like seeing Medra like battle it out with some vamps, you know? I thought she did a pretty good job with that. But she's a dragon rider, and oh my god, I'm so excited about the dragons that are coming up. So excited. But yeah, so I enjoyed this video. I hope you did too. It's kind of random, kind of like a last minute thing that I wanted to do. But I think I'm gonna do gargoyles next for this series. I got a Dom Gargoyle romance, like a Dom Daddy Gargoyle romance over there called Titan. I really want to read it. And then I just read When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy, and I do know that Nestlings has like a gargoyle / vampire twist to it. So I want to get to that too. But I found some other gargoyle books that I am excited to get into as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I can't wait for this series to come out and for you to see it. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this video, if you think it's fun, how you would like to see this series progress. If you want to see anything different, you know, let me know in the comments. But I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.